A warm welcome students in our NewtonGATE, where we make your dreams come true. So in this class we are going to discuss about the analytical paragraph. So yes, class 10 students who are in CBSE board is well acquainted with the term analytical paragraph. So let's see what is this. So the students who are struggling to know the format of the analytical paragraph or don't know about the concept, this will help you a lot. So what is analytical paragraph? That we need to know. Sheena asked her teacher that what is analytical paragraph, teacher? Her teacher explains, an analytical paragraph is a form of descriptive writing which is written on the basis of a given chart, graph, data, outline, clues, table, etc. So now we came to know that a paragraph will be given to us and we need to analyze that paragraph. The paragraph can consist of any data, any chart, any graph, anything. We need to analyze and write on our own that what is there in the data. Let's proceed. Sheena says, that's interesting, but how to analyze the paragraph with the help of this given data? So this is what we are going to learn. The format of the analytical paragraph. And some of the quick starting lines that will make your concept more clear and writing more easy. Let's see. So key points to remember. In order to know the format, we need to remember some of the key points. Number one, the analytical paragraph has to be written within 100 to 120 words. Okay, you cannot exceed that. So that assumption you have to make clear in your mind. Next is, it should state facts that are provided by the chart. Next, it would be preferable to use the passive form of the verb and same tense. So some of the students, they make some mistake that in the first half they use present tense and in the latter half they use the past tense. So that will not be correct. When I am using one tense, I should follow that rigorously throughout my writing. Next, it is necessary to make use of simple and accurate language. It should mention necessary figure and quantity appropriately. Let me show you. So this is one graph that I have taken. Follow this. Below is a graph given showing birth and death rates in a country from 1901 to 2101. Write an analytical paragraph. Now, some of the students will ask me, ma'am, how to find out the data or the necessary figure from this? Yes, you can. Can you see that in the horizontal axis, the year is given and in the vertical axis, the birth and death rate is given in thousands. So, what we can do? We can make an assumption from here, right? Like, if I see this figure, you will see that it is 10,000, then it is 20,000, then it is increasing. So you can see the black line representing the birth rate is meeting at this 20 point. So we can say that in the starting phase, that is 1901, the birth rate started increasing from 20,000. Okay, so you can see the line graph is showing one increasing trend, right? So this is what we can say. Next, let's move to the next part, the format. Format is very easy. We are having first the introduction. What is the introduction? Introduction explain basically why we follow introduction. The introduction is the first paragraph that should describe in brief what the graph is about. It should be like an opening paragraph that introduces the reader to the context. Okay, so this is what introduction is all about. So we should give introduction at least in 1 or 2 lines. That will elaborate the subject of the given graph to us. Next comes very important, that is description or the body part. So what is in the description or the body part that we need to write? This part of the analytical paragraph should contain details of the given graph in the question, right? It should contain all the information. It is extremely important to choose the significant details that should be included in the paragraph. The body can be broken into many divisions, like depending on the question. Like it can be given, I will discuss in detail that some comparisons can be given, like we have seen in the first graph that I have given the example, birth rate and the death rate. Any trends can be given, normal trends, okay. Following the pie chart, we can any values can be given. So how to write it or how to start it, that I will show you later on. So description, keep it in mind that we have to explain in detail what the graph is about, use relevant figures, explain trends, make comparisons and contrast, divided into sub-paragraphs if required. Next, that is our conclusion. So conclusion basically deals with the last paragraph that should summarize the idea mentioned and the information in general. It should be concluding in nature and act as the closing statement. One should keep it in mind that one must not include any personal opinion, conclusion or observation. You should simply stick to the fact. So you need not dispose of the information to give a good analytical paragraph. Okay, the key is to choose wisely the important information, organize it well, state correct facts and summarize it properly. So conclude the paragraph giving the overall view or summary of the graph. Next, useful tips for writing an analytical paragraph. As I told you that I will be mentioning some of the starting lines or phrases that you can use in the analytical paragraph. So for an introduction, you can start with the following phrases. Number 1, the chart given above describes, or you can write shows, anything, or you can start with the table suggests. Next you can start with the line graph shows. Next, the data given provides information about, the pie chart illustrates, etc. So this will be your starting phrases. Let's see one example. The chart shows the division of household tasks by gender in Great Britain. Write an analytical paragraph describing the chart given in. Okay, so omit the word limit because for you CBSE board class 10, you have the word limit within 100 to 120 word. Okay, so here we can see one bar graph is given. So following the trend, what we can write in the introduction? The chart shows the number of minutes per day spent by British men and women in doing household tasks. On an average, the women spend about 4 hours doing household tasks, whereas the men spend about less than 2.5 hours. So this is depending on the chart I have pointed out. Next, let's see. What about writing? We should start for writing a description or the body part. So for describing trends, as I told you that I will be elaborately saying you that what different type of description or body part we actually face in the analytical paragraph. So for describing trends, use phrases and words like a pattern of growth, rapidly doubled, skyrocketed. Skyrocketed will be used when it is high, extremely high. Suppose in the case of birth rate, it went high in the year, suppose 1921. So I will write that the birth rate skyrocketed in the year 1921. If you wish, you can mention the value also. Then striking increase, peaked, scoring high, reds, declined, then leveled off, stagnated, fluctuated, starting to rise, starting to fall, drop down slightly, etc. Definitely students, please note down this following phrases. This is very, very important. Next, for describing quantities. So use various styles like 48% of 1/3. We can say like this. Okay. Or nearly 1/4, almost 80%, majority, on an average, twice as much. So omit the common words like highest. Okay. You can write that it lies in the majority. So that will attract, or that will be more attractive. Okay. So also you can write twice as much, almost, equal, the highest, the lowest, etc. Next comes for establishing a relationship or a contrast. Okay. Or we can say simply comparison. We can use words like on the other hand, relationship between, or similarity, in contrast with, in comparison to, but in the opposite case, etc. So here are some of the lines or phrases, please note down, that are very, very important for you to use. So you can see students that your word limit is 100 to 120. So if you start with these phrases, so you will actually be able to cover some of the words, right? Now, अब जो समझ रहे हो वो आपको बस लिखना पड़ेगा. So that is, these lines are making it easy for you. So let's see one example for the description. So I have taken the same graph, you can see. So this graph, what we can elaborately describe in detail, that since 1901, the birth rate has remained more than the death rate until 2041. Birth rate was 20,000 in 1901, as I have elaborated before, and started increasing gradually. It peaked in 1961 to around 65,000. From 1961, birth rate has fluctuated multiple times between 50,000 and 60,000. It is expected to decline for the coming years, reaching approximately 42,000 by 2101. On the other hand, can you see that here we are establishing comparison. The death rate stood at around 10,000 in 1901 and then has increased steadily. It is expected to rise strikingly from 2021 before leveling off to approximately 60,000 between 2061 and 2081. The graph indicates a slight decline in death in the year 2101. So this is what the example I have shown, that how you can write the description properly. Next, move to the conclusion. So for a conclusion, you can start with the following easy phrases. Let's see. For conclusion and other connecting phrases, use overall, subsequently, in all, in a nutshell, for the chart given, in short, striking changes, including, therefore, etc. Let's see one example. So here the pie chart shows the proportion of people from different households living in poverty in the UK in 2002. Write an analytical paragraph to describe the information in 100 to 120 words. So here the proportion of people from each household type living in poverty is given, right? So let's see. Overall, I have in a nutshell done the conclusion. See and follow. Okay. Overall, 14% of all the households in the UK were living under poverty. The younger generation had a greater poor percentage than their aged counterparts. Couple without children had better economic condition than those with children. So have I given my own opinion on something? No. I just simply collected the data and gave my view here in the conclusion. So I hope you have understood what I have described. So if you have any query relating to analytical paragraph, you can contact us on this given number. Thank you, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe our channel.